You are looking live at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which had kind of a quiet day today, although at the end we saw some volume come in and Nasdaq was up 70 points or 0.38%. You could see the volume was above 6% above the 50-day average daily volume there. On the last day of the third quarter is over, and now we're into the fourth quarter, and we all know that the fourth quarter is winning time. Anyway, the Nasdaq, since I mentioned this, I'm going to click it over to the 5-minute chart here. You can see at the end here, we can see a strong rally from 17,997 up to the close of 18,189. Like I said, it was up, 70 points. And it was all, right at the end there with volume. So as the third quarter closes, we saw some buying coming in. We'll see if that can continue on the first day of the fourth quarter. The Nasdaq closed 4.3% above its 50 SMA and 2.3% above its 21 EMA. So the Nasdaq's looking good here. It's in a power trend and things are going great. We like to see strong closes like that. At least I do. Let me see. Let's go to I'm just going to go to the SPY here. SPY hit a power trend as well. I'm going to go to the weekly chart here because I want to see what you can see 3 weeks in a row here. The 572s, 574, and today 574.38, just a tick below last week's high. So this thing is breaking out and just moving to higher ground. Another index in a power trend. We got to go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This one made a new high on Friday, pulled back today, and then closed higher though, 17 points. Let's take a look at the 5-minute on this one. Yeah, we saw some buyers into the close as well at the end of Q3. And then the last one we need to take a look at is the IWM. This is the only one that's not in a power trend yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, it's in a power trend. So IWM looking good as well. It's still off its high, and it's 2.6 above its 50, 1.5% above its 10, and it's 3.4% off of its all-time, 52-week high. All right, I don't trade indexes, I trade stocks. I'm going to just go through the Mag 7, just a perfunctory perusal of the Mag 7. And Apple is looking good here. It's starting to shape up here, like if it's got this little downtrend line going. Yeah. 232 would definitely be a actionable point, and then 237.23 as well. So Apple is strong, just building out the right side of its base, above all of its moving averages, trending in the right direction. Looks fantastic. Microsoft just still consolidating within the base here, pulled back to the 21, doing nothing wrong. It's got that standard buy point of 441. And NVIDIA is the last of our $3 trillion market cap stocks. Oh, it's just a tick below now. It was flat on the session. Did not do much. It sold off at the open. And see here at the open, they kind of rallied back all day, just fighting the flat line on the session. Meta is looking very good. Kind of broke out of that little 542 area. I think it's got 500 in its rear view mirror. It's 72 points above it. So that one's looking good as well. Not really actionable, a little extended there, but still a strong stock. Tesla looks good as well. They're going to announce deliveries here pretty soon. And this one's just building the right side of the base. You can see here that it's above all of its moving averages. 17% above the 15, 9 above the 21. So yeah, very strong. Tesla looks good. What are the last two? Amazon and Google. Yeah, Amazon just pulled back to its 21. That looks pretty good to me. This little kind of wedge pattern, 3 or 4 days, low volume. Looks pretty good for Amazon. And then Google, I haven't checked for a while because, they're going through that legal battle and I do not like stocks. 168.64 above the moving averages. That'd be an area of interest. Got these downtrending MAs, though. You need to get that 10 and the 21 stacked above the 50, but it's still looking pretty good for Alphabet. All right, the story last week was the Chinese stocks. And I get it. You know, these things are super hot. And you don't want to chase hot money because when you chase hot money, you get burned. And I don't like getting burned, but you know, if you're looking at longer term, like the stimulus is going to provide you know, backstop for their economy longer term, you know, maybe around this area here, the breakout, let it pull back a little bit, you know, or go sideways and let these moving averages catch up to this. These are just, you know, what I'm watching. I would not be buying anything right here. This is a exchange traded fund that's kind of a cross between the Dow Jones and the QQQ. It's 50 stocks, just China 50 index. And yeah, it's 19% above its 8 week average. And on the daily, it's 7% above the 10. So just a little too extended. Same with the other exchange traded fund that I follow. This is KWEB. This is the internet index, and 12% above the 10, 20% above the 21, just super extended. But like I say, you know, watch them, you know, and there's your, you know, the breakout, and it'll probably come back to that area. I just would not chase them. I just have learned over the years I don't chase. And if they go on without me, I'm okay with that. I want to buy something a little more, you know, closer to its buy area. I'm not, you know, I don't need to buy these. I'm just acknowledging strength here. This is JD. It was kind of flat on this session. Let's take a look at this. After a week of just busting higher, it gapped up at the open and sold off. So that's kind of expected, you know, after a week of um excuse me for toggling back and forth here, but this thing was up a lot last week. Yeah, 40%. So, you know, stock up 40%. You got to expect some profit taking. Speaking of which, BEKE, it was up a lot last week. It was just flat in the session. It pulled back to this buy area. So I'd rather buy something here, even though this is super extended. You know, it's got the blue dot here, you know, indicating relative strength. You see the relative strength line driving right through all the MAs there. But this one has a buy point there at 2048 roughly. And and it's near its buy point. The problem is it's just a little extended here, 15% above the 10, because it was up, you know, this one, like JD, was up 40% last week, you know, so you got to expect some profit taking. This is definitely a stock of interest, and I believe it as moving averages catch up here in time, I think it's going to trade higher than that 2048. Anyway, if you get, you know, if you're holding stocks like BABA and you've held it for a long time and it goes from, you know, 90 to 110, you have to take profits. If you go to the weekly here, you can see this thing's just been a huge downtrend. And now you finally get this move higher. I mean, you got to take profits there. A 22% move in a stock like that, that's been down so long. So that's expected. FUTU, you know, you expect profit taking from this one. It was up what, 30% last week and gap tired this week. Closed at 33% of its range, but still up 11%. That's a hell of a move for FUTU. And any other ones that I want. Oh, Junkie Solar. Junkie Solar had a good week last week. Look at all the volume coming in today. Drove through its moving averages. So that shows a lot of strength there after this months and months and months and actually, you know, years essentially of just going down, down, down. Now finally breaks above that on the weekly. So still 31% off its 52-week high, up 15% today. So a good move for Junkie Solar, but I'm not, you know, I'm just watching those. I don't, you know, like I say, chasing hot money is a good way to get burned for me. So I'm just going to watch them. If something pulls back and seems intriguing, then you know, I'll pull the trigger. That's why I'm watching BEKE, but just not ready yet. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I've got to get to the hardware names because Micron had a great earnings report last week. It ramped higher, and this is a problem with stocks that, you know, gap higher. This one was up 14, nearly 15% with massive volume, right? but on the next day, it traded below the gap day, which the low was 107.53. Then on Friday, it traded 107.03. So for me, that's a non-starter. I'm out because usually when they get in this gap zone here, they come back and fill the gap, and that's 96.18, and I don't want to take that trip. Today the low was 102.96, so it's only got like $6 to go. That's just I could do that in a day, fill the gap, and then rip higher in a day. So great quarter, big volume came in, but now the sellers are selling it off, and I don't like gappers back in their gap zone. So Micron is a no-go for me. All right, let me see. VRT, another data center name. This one broke, above its downtrend line, and now it's just forming a base, right? It broke above here a couple weeks ago, made this nice rip. Now little wedge pattern here, a couple days of a pullback, allowing the moving averages to catch up. I like this one a lot, but it's got to trade through 100 and get back up to that 109.27 area, and it's got some work to do, but I think it will do it. We just got to give it some time. STX, another one, in the Micron computer data storage space. You can see a really weak group here. They've really sold off. But this one's forming the right side of a base. Looks pretty good. I like a little bit more of a pullback here, back to the 10 or maybe even the 21. But definitely keep my eye on Seagate. And I like the, this 107.91 from way back when. That's an area of interest for me. It just closed a couple bucks above it, but I'm watching those. MU though is definitely a no-go for now. All right, I'm going to move on to the data center, the energy plays, the power component, utility, electric power, and this is VST, another one that broke out, much like Vert, had this downtrend line, then ripped higher. This stock is the highest appreciating stock in the S&P 500. It passed NVIDIA with this move here, and now it's just kind of flagging a little bit, forming a pennant, doing nothing wrong. I don't know how long it's going to do this. Maybe if I take a look at the weekly, maybe another week or two. Where was the close last week? Let's see if we can get maybe get a number on what we can expect here. The last was 117.72, today 118. So it stays in there, that 118, 120 area. That would be fine for, another week or so. And then it'll be an add-on buy point, but it's still not that far above its buy point there, 107.24. So it's just extended from, on the daily from that 10 EMA. It's allowing them to catch up though. It's 9% above its 10 EMA. So that's still, really strong stock. Let me see here. In fact, I'm going to do this here. If you go to the moving average, I like to play with the moving averages like I do. You just go to the 5. Really strong stocks will pull back to their 5, and that's kind of what this one's doing here. So, I use a 10 on basic, for most stocks, but really strong stocks like this one, which is, top gainer in the S&P, that's a special case. So it's probably going to get support there at the 5. And, like I said, 118 to 120 is fine. Even, 116 to 120 is fine for VST. The next one, it's Constellation. This one's been really strong since the deal with Microsoft. Once again, this one's, at the 5 EMA. I'm not going to keep switching back every time for every stock. GE Vernova, once again, at the 5. These things are super strong. This group, top 14 group is a really strong group. This is the alternative energy, not the same as BST. This is a different group. This is a top 10 group too. This is utility electric power. So yeah, Vistra I like a lot. So those three I like. AMSC. There's another one in the electric power equipment group. This is, I believe, the same as Quanta Services, I believe. But anyway, this one's setting up in a base, so I'm watching this one. I like stocks that trade tight within a base, just kind of quiet. It's got these little wedge patterns. This one now above the 50, forming this wedge above the 50. So wouldn't be surprised to see this one bounce. maybe showing up on our ready list at some point. I did mention Quanta. I'm not sure. I think they went ex-dividend today, I believe, or I don't know, soon. I can't keep track of everything, but they are paying a dividend here pretty soon, so they're going ex-dividend. They pay a dividend this month. It's a really tiny dividend. But this one still flirting with that 300 level, and I think it's going to provide some resistance for a little while until it doesn't. POWL, this one's on the loose, man. You can see this breakout here straight up from the bottom, 146 to 221 close today. And once again, this thing's probably, above its five. This one's super strong stock, so let me see what else. Oh, NI is another one. There's just a bunch of these. This one's Kelly Slater stock, just surfing its moving average. Beautiful surfer, hanging 10. And TLN is another one that I like. This is a utility electric power in with Vistra. And this one just pulling back kind of nicely here to its 10 gently. Talon, you can see how much interest we've seen since the summer. A lot of volume picking up here with TLN. Anyway, I'm going to get out of this group and move on because I want to go to app. This is, if you're going to own a software stock, I like to own leaders, so if I want to own a software stock, I want to own, something like this one. There's others, but this one is just showing super strength. Once again, I'll go to the moving averages because this is a different group. But leading stocks or strong stocks are gonna, trade down to their five. Here it is supported. I wouldn't be surprised to see it form a little shelf before trading higher, but this one is a super strong stock here. Once again, finding support at its 5 EMA. 133.05 is the high, and it's 4% off its high. So, could make a high at any time. I'm going to switch back to the 10, if you will. Sorry for the toggling back and forth. I just want to show you that strong stocks, they don't always come back to the 10, so you can't wait for that. I mentioned ZETA, another one of these leading stocks. This one just surfing like Kelly Slater on its 10 EMA here. A couple times it pulled back to its 21 and found support. I think we can deal with that. Any stock above the 21, that's pretty easy hold here. Even if this one, pulled back to its 50, would be the first time since the breakout, so it'd still be an area of interest for me. ZETA looking super strong. GWRE, now this is a software financial, and this group here is top 10 group. This one broke out, just trading higher, made new high today, up nearly 3% with, real strong volume. You can see there way above average volume, 39%. So that one looks good as well. And I know you're going to hear people complain, oh, these stocks are expensive. Well, that's what happens in a bull market when the Fed is lowering rates and the Fed, don't fight the Fed. The trend is your friend. When they were raising rates, the multiples contracted and everything came in. Now they're lowering rates and the multiples are expanding. So you're going to get that type of action in a bull market. That's just the nature of the business. You can't fight that. Don't fight the trend, don't fight the Fed. So that one looks pretty good. PRGS is another one. They reported earnings either last week. Yeah, and this blasted higher through its buy point on the earnings day. There it is on the weekly, just going right through that. It's power through the pivot right there. And man, I didn't buy it, but this one looks really nice. Extended now, but when you see a stock with power through the pivot like that, and it's got, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 days, just big blue wall there. So somebody's buying. It's not STLA, way above average daily volume. This is already what, 4 or 5 days after that gap higher, and it's still getting that type of volume. That's an impressive move. Monday, it's Monday. You gotta, take a look at Monday, and all this thing did is pull back to its 10 EMA. It looks like it bounced a little bit today. Finding support there. Another strong software name. KVYO. This one, I just didn't have the patience for this one. You got to look at the weekly here. This is an IPO, and it's just forming this IPO base. Cup with the handle and broke out like 2 weeks ago. This week, you have 9%, and then followed through 3.5 last week, and up today, and you can see it's just right near its high. So This one looks pretty good. Another computer stock. Anyway, I have to get out of the computer names and go to the medicals. One name that I've always liked and really like now is Intuitive Surgical. Why? Why do you like it? Well, it's forming this little shelf, this little I don't know, this little flat base pattern, if you will. 466 it came down to, and just kind of trading really tight. I like tight. Look at this thing. So I don't know. To me, maybe 500 will be resistance here, but I'm looking for it to get about 496.18 to put on a trade. But that thing looks pretty good to me. TMDX is trading kind of wild here. It undercut its 50, then rallied through, now undercut again, and it's trading right there at its 50. Kind of strange action here. A little wild. I like this stuff. As a trend trader, I mean, this is super easy, just hugging the moving averages. Then I think a gapped higher in earnings, and now it's getting this kind of wonky, gappy, and it's hit a little too wild for me. It's got to calm down. But I like the stock a lot. I just don't like the wild trading. Lantheus is another one that, gapped higher on a news report of something about their accounting. I forget now, but it's definitely forming a base. Pull back to the 50, found support, and then it started trading along its 50, then rallied up, then undercut it, rallied up, undercut it. Once again, real choppy. Building the right side of the base. I guess you could say 111.67 would be an area of interest here. We could trade through there, but it's still just building the right side of the base, consolidating. I mean, the thing ran from 76 to 126, so you got to cut it some slack. Give it time to digest the gains, I should say. All right, HIMS, I don't like this one longer term. I like it shorter term for a trade, but they Wegovy, they're selling compound of Wegovy, and because Novo can't make enough of it, so Mounjaro, they said the supply chain issues had been solved, so they can't sell that compound. But since there's not enough of Wegovy, they can sell that until Novo, I don't know, figures out how to manufacture more Wegovy, and then that will come off, and that's going to really hurt this stock, I believe. But for now, just for a trade, it's above its moving averages. It's moving averages, the 10's moving through the 50 here. It's shown some strength here, higher lows. I think for a trade, it's okay. Longer term, I don't really like the business model for HIMS, but we'll see. DOCS, this one's a beast. My goodness, talk about it. And this thing's not even surfing its moving averages. It's just it just wants higher prices. Pull back one time, since the breakout, pull back one time. That's not even a pullback. That's just, what I talk about, a stock going, sideways, flat, and letting the moving averages catch up. As soon as they catch up, what did it do? It took off. So maybe it'll do it again, trade, a little sideways here for a little bit and allow the 10 to catch up. But man, this thing wants higher prices. And you can see why. You got, accelerated earnings growth, and accelerating sales growth. So that's what's going to drive the stocks higher. And that's what, in a bull market, that's typically what does drive your stock higher. It's not, the sucker's going up, I want to own it. It's, hey, every quarter they're showing, explosive and accelerating sales and earnings growth. So that's what's going to drive the stock higher. Another one, I like, but I've never bought this one. And it's just a, kind of a thin stock. It's a $90 stock trading at, 127,000 shares a day, which is not a lot. But I got to tell you, they're at 92. I'm intrigued, 92.90. If it gets through there, that's to me is a, what you would call that Darvis box breakout. If I can get through there, drive through there with some volume here, above average volume. It's coming, I think. I like LMAT, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. All right, I'm going to move on. Since I'm in the medical, I got to go to the drugs. ADMA, to me, this is my favorite drug stock. I'm not saying it's the strongest or the best. I just like it because I'm pretty familiar with the business model and their prospects for growth going forward. So I think I can hold this for a little while, and I kind of like that But you can see the accelerating sales growth, accelerating earnings growth. And if I go to the weekly here, you can see the expected growth here. Yeah, there's some big blue numbers there. Obviously, it's had a big run here. The last base was a stage one, and it hasn't, formed a stage two base. And this thing's run, gosh, what, from four to, it's been a five bagger, and it's just not slowing down. So we like five baggers anyway. CAPR, speaking of strong stocks, is another one. Just broke out last week or the week before, and maybe it was the week before here. That's a big move, 18% on the 23rd. The 24th follows through with a 52% move. Thank you very much. Then 13%. Today was only up 52%. So this thing is just on fire. And this is what intrigues people about biotech stocks, right? It's like, oh man, this thing, it's a high tide flag. It's going to form a high tide flag. Went to 5 to 15 in a short period of time. Talk about hot money, right? It's a three bagger in like a week. So that is appealing to people. So, but I got to tell you, more often than not, these speculative biotechs, they fail and then they cause a lot of pain. This is CORT. I believe, you can see the sales and earnings growth here. So this is what's driving the stock higher. You could see the, just a breakout moving higher. These moving averages skyrocketing higher. So that's another one that I like. TGTX is another one that I like, but this is, you got to be patient with. It's a 3.6 billion market cap with about, I don't know, what do you say? I forget, 300, I don't know, 350 million in sales, something like that, about 10 times sales. So it's not a cheap stock. And they're just going to have to report a couple more quarters, but you can see the growth profile here on their multiple sclerosis drug, Briumvi. So another biotech stock that I like. All right, let's move on. Got to do some retail. I'm a sucker for retail. I'm just showing strength here. Boot, just really strong stock. Looks like an inside day today. Yes, thank you very much. Shark Ninja, another retail name. Just talk about Kelly Slater, man, surfing the 10, made a new high today. And this is what, I'd call it like a real, miniature shelf. This thing just, I mean, that a pennant, a shelf, that thing just really strong stock, easy hold. If you're long Shark Ninja, Crocs is one that I like. Crocs is one that I'm stalking to buy at that 147 level. It's got to get above it. Today it pulled back to its 10 and found support. This one's going to take some time as it's just building the right side of its base. Reports earnings on Halloween. How spooky. Will it be a trick or a treat? Okay, I'm going to move on to the retail restaurant group. There's four of them that have been really strong this year. Sweet Green is one, pulled back to its 10 today. Kava is another one. It's been super strong stock last year. This one pulled back to its 21, actually closed higher today. And what was the other one? Oh, Brinker. This is the Chili's Maggiano's, man. People are eating Chili's Maggiano's. They got these nice strong earnings reports. Cup with handle pattern here broke out, now pulled back to the 10. Brinker's been a really strong stock. You could see it was 28 bucks here and, about a year ago, October. So really nice. And then Wingstop, another one that everybody cries. It's too expensive. It's going higher. I like stocks that are going higher. So this one's just consolidating still within its base here. I think I had it on my ready list last week or the week before there at 409. I took it off though. I'm going to let it play out because I think it's going to do, shake some people out here. And if you buy it now, you might get shaken out if it pulls back. I expect that kind of action. A shake out and then a blast higher through that old 431. We'll see. All right, I'm going to move on to the shippers. The shippers, there's a strike, dock workers strike, and that's causing problems. This is the old Johnny Depp pirate stock where the pirates were causing problems in the Straits of Hormuz a while back, and now it's this dock strike causing rates to go up. Zim, I did not buy it. It's an old friend there, though. I think at 23.75, it was a buy. Now it's a couple bucks higher. I'm not going to chase Zim here in this double bottom pattern. That's what it looks like, doesn't it? Little double bottom here, is it? There you go. All right, Starbuck, another shipping stock. Just building the right side of its base and then ship. If you're gonna have a shipping stock, it better have a ticker of SHIP. And that one is formed a cup with handle trying to break out here. Yeah, it kind of thinly traded, 216 uh, shares traded, and it's only a $12 stock, so pretty thin, but consolidating in a base and still, trying to break out. Looks okay. All right, last thing I'm going to go to is the chemical, agriculture, chemical. I will get to Ford in a minute. CF, this one's kind of a mess, but it is, forming a base, and it's a little choppy for me. But I showed you that one, so I could show you this one, another chemical stock. This is a Scott's Miracle-Gro, and this one formed a base and just was broken out. And you can see, the big volume here. Let's go to the weekly chart here. There it is. Base, 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 and boom, looks good, making new highs. And the last one I'm going to show is RPM. They report earnings Wednesday morning. Another chemical paint stock, construction, pull back to the 21 ahead of earnings. I kind of like that, which is Wednesday morning. So that's a pretty good company here. It's been in business, I want to say about 80 years with only three CEOs, Frank Sullivan Jr., and Frank Sullivan III, who's the young guy who's been the CEO for the past, like, I don't know, 30 years. He's a new guy on the block. So that's just a family company and just really well run. Elliott Management got involved with this one. It's really straightened it out. Yeah, RPMs are good company, good American business. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. And at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. However, in the honor of the great Steve Jobs, it's the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter, and Stellantis, which is Jeep, Fiat, Dodge, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and this thing's been in a complete downtrend. But today issued guidance, which is not good, going forward. I don't know about the car industry. And you're going to get a lot of negative when you see stuff like this. You're going to get a lot of negative and bears come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, we're heading into a recession, a bear market's coming." But I wouldn't pay too much attention to them. This one's been in a downtrend for a long time. General Motors sold off on the news. This one's holding up a lot better. Um, you know, I think part of the problem with the auto industry is they went gung ho, spent a lot of money on the electric vehicle, fleets, and it didn't sell like they had expected. I think it caused a little hiccup, in their production. And man, it's just going to be a little sideways choppy action. That's not that bad. That was down 3.5%. Ford was down 2% today. Just chopping around. These guys pay a massive dividend, don't they? Yeah, 5 point, they're paying you nearly 6% just to hold it. But it's kind of hard to hold when this thing's under all the moving averages. Once again, they had a buildup of electric vehicles and it just didn't pan out for them. So I think it's causing them to restructure. And I think they'll be okay. I know they'll be okay longer term. It's just short term. They're going through some tough times right now. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow is the start of the fourth quarter, Tuesday, October 1 at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, and you better not give up either.